huge week coming up here. Our final home game of the season. I thought, as I look back on the start of the year to where we are now, our guys have played, really well, and there's a lot that they got to just keep cleaning up. But the support from this community, support from this student body, I understand they won't all be here, throughout the week, but hopefully they'll make it back in time to come, send our guys off on the right note with these, seniors just having the respect, given to them that they so greatly deserve, especially, those guys that have been with this program for a long, long time. So looking forward to it, and it'll be a huge challenge, and our guys are, excited to get going.
What's it going to be like to celebrate guys like Tanner and Torres who have been here for 6 years and have stuck it out with this program?
Yeah, I just, what they've seen and what they've been through, it's a lot. It's I don't know, if you look back on it, it's probably more than most people have, transitioning from FCS to FBS, all the stuff that comes with it, this new age of college football and what that is, and watching so many guys, come and go and be part of a team that you've been part of from when you first got here, and seeing so many different people rotate through and come through over your time. And you're one of those that just, withstood the test of time and stayed loyal to a program. It's hard to find. So, I think it means a lot, and that'll mean just a little bit more, I'm sure, to them, come Saturday.
And as a coach, when you take over a program, how important is the senior class, whether it's guys like Tanner and Torres who have been here or even new guys come in? How important is it to have that as you're kind of coaching through a new team and a new transition?
Well, I mean, you hope that you have leadership in that group, and no matter where you are, it's that group. It's that group that understands the finality of what that season means. And I think as freshmen and sophomores, it's the same thing with any high schooler or any freshman in college. You just think 4 years is so far away, and you get to be a senior and you walk out there and that is your final year. You certainly understand it. So that group has to be the ones to sort of carry the torch, but also to educate the younger guys that eventually you will be in our shoes, and it goes a lot quicker than you think. So it's important to have the right people at the top of any organization when time is limited for them. And I think that's what our guys, I think have done a really good job of expressing that, to their teammates, and making sure that we all know that every day, is very valuable, and don't waste a single one of them.
Tanner mentioned that Saturday kind of left a bad taste in everybody's mouth and how that went down. How have you seen them kind of use that in response to getting back out on the field today and then throughout this week? Yeah,
well, I think that, I was just down in the lift a couple minutes ago, and it was electric down there, and those guys understand that. Here we are in the final game of the season. Obviously not the outcome we wanted on Saturday, and there were moments where we could have pulled away and just didn't. So I think it comes down to just straight execution on everybody's individual, responsibility ultimately. And, we talked a lot about it. We can talk about let's get better this week. It's not, you're kind of out of time to get better on fundamental football right now, and that's not what ailed us in any way. It's about just doing your job and just executing your responsibility. So started in the weight room, started with their meetings, and, when we step foot on that field here shortly, I expect to see the exact same thing.
Going off that, obviously the sour taste coming off that road trip, but you have an opportunity to, as a team, to go undefeated at Bridgeforth Stadium. How important is that to not just win at home, but to consistently win at home and create an environment that makes it darn near impossible to come in here and beat the Dukes?
Yeah, well, I think that has a lot to do with the community surrounding us as well. When you come in here and there's a lot of purple in here, and it's a very one-sided feel to it, that certainly plays in, to our advantage. So, we're going to need that on Saturday, and I think that a lot of those previous games that led us to, be able to speak about something like undefeated at home has a lot to do with not just us on the field, but everybody else in this building.
Let's talk about Marshall. What do you see out of the tape? They've really responded really well since that Georgia Southern loss. They haven't lost.
Yeah, well, and they barely lost. Yeah, and they barely lost that one. There's just some unfortunate events that occurred in there that had them lose that one. But they I'm sure on paper never. You look back on it, I'm sure that's one that they did not. You just don't expect them to lose that one. They're very good football team. Their quarterback is doing a really good job. Braxton's full time now at that position, and he just can do a lot with his legs, a lot with his arm. A really good leader out there. You could see it it, the way he carries himself. He, doesn't put them in any bad spots. He understands what he needs to do. And then when he decides to pull the ball, well, first they run him a lot, but then when he decides to pull the ball down and run, he is not looking to avoid people, although he can. He's looking to run through people or over people. Sometimes he'll even jump over. There's a lot in here that this kid does that's really, really good. You get to the defensive side and you start with Green, and that kid is obviously the number one in at this level for a reason. He has a unbelievable toolbox of moves that he can use, and he understands run and pass, and he's not just a pass rusher. He's also very, very good in the run game. That's our two top guys. You get to the running backs and the receivers and the DBs and the linebackers. This is a very complete team, including special teams. So there's very little weaknesses in here, which obviously that record indicates, and we'll take everything we got come Saturday night.
Looking on to Saturday, I know it's also a chance to remain undefeated at home, have a perfect season here. But on top of that, Marshall's still playing to possibly get that top spot in the East. Is there ever any extra motivation heading into that of if we can't take the division, you can't either? Or is that something that's not?
Yeah, we talked about that. The role of spoilers, not really. I don't know. I don't take great, excitement in that. Mine is, and I think our team's is, just for us to get back out there and play, really good football and finish properly, finish the season properly here at our last home game. So I don't think anybody's looking and going, let's try to ruin this for anyone. I think we're just trying to play our best football, period, and, make sure that we're, clicking on all cylinders and that we're aggressive as we can be and that we're not leaving anything to chance. And that's what this whole week's going to be about.
And I know you still got one more game ahead, but as a whole, throughout this year, it's a brand new coaching staff, brand new roster, a lot of ups and a lot of challenges you've had to overcome. What have maybe been some of the things that have surprised you most about this team in this year to be able to gel so fast and have a season like this?
Well, I think that, again, I referenced it many times, and I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but I remember being up in that press box and just trying to figure out if we're going to have enough guys to play football, and that was one of the things that, then we were able to get through that spring and basically say, man, all right, here we are. What do we have to do now to improve this roster even more and hit the portal in the spring as well? And just to watch them be able to come together all summer and come through all season, and there's a lot of really cool ups in this season. There's a few downs as well, but I just think, that trying to rebuild an entire team with, again, offense, defense, special teams, strength and conditioning, that's not easy to do. If we all came from one place and we were able to just install our whole thing and brought our players, it makes it a little bit easier. This is a lot of different people learning a lot of different scheme, learning a lot of different ways to do things, and all coming together and trying to piece it together as quickly as you possibly can. And I just think, their resolve, their belief in each other, and the way that they gelled together, I think they've made long-lasting friendships that are going to go way beyond just here when they leave. And I think that's what I'm most excited about and proud of for them. Eventually, when this season concludes at the end of the bowl game, our record will be what it will be. But, in a very short period of time, we've affected each other's lives and, shared this journey together. And it was really it wasn't easy to do. And I think that I'm really proud of the way the coaches, the way the players and everybody came together to, accomplish a whole lot. And there's a whole lot more that we got to accomplish and be better at. But when you ask me to look back and, things I'm proud of, that's probably one of the biggest things.
Looking back at this game and going off the App State game, explosive plays really kind of was a key thing for App State and taking advantage of opportunities. When you look at an offense like Marshall with a multiple quarterback like Braxton, and you look at the tape from last week's game, what are the things you guys are really keying in on defensively, especially in the secondary, and maybe even up front to create more pressure to try to kind of get Braxton off?
Well, there's no one simple thing because they do so much. They're not just, hey, we're going to throw it up. There's a whole lot in here. They have the stretch game just like we just faced from App State. They're going to do that, and then they also are going to take their shots, and then they're going to include the quarterback in a whole lot of it. And then when he doesn't like what he sees downfield, he's going to pull it down and run. And so there's a lot in there that we got to be able to handle. For us, last Saturday, ultimately, I thought we came out great. I thought we did an unbelievable job. And then they just got a big play. And then there was a minute and 33 seconds right before half that ended up, kind of being that was the 14 points that mattered the most. They clicked and connected on their 50-50 balls. They weren't 50-50 for them, and we didn't. We had opportunities and didn't do anything with them, and they did. So I thought there were moments where we could have run away with that game, and then there were, then it ended up just kind of, turning upside down. So I think for us, we got to make sure that we understand every single play lives individually, and we got to play that play. We can't relax. We can't expect someone to just go away. When we get ahead, we got to finish it, and that ultimately is what the focus will be this week.
When it comes to the mistakes that may come, whether it be last weekend or any other game, how much of it fixing it is on the field, practicing and seeing it rep-wise versus in the, in the film room, just seeing it on tape and seeing how it maybe went wrong on film?
Well, it's all of it. It depends what kind of learner you are, right? If you're visual, you could see it on the screen and fix it. If not, you got to go out and go through the motions of it, walk through it, then do it at full speed, then go back and correct it. That's really it. We don't ever just teach in here's a piece of paper, learn it, and let's go out and do it. We don't ever just teach with here's film. We don't ever just teach on the board. We're going to make sure we're covering, all elements of, people's learning styles and making sure that we touch every single one of them, then film it all and come back and review it again. So you do have to make the mistake though in game. I imagine, that some things that happened, that maybe hurt us will never ever happen again because of the fact that you just had to live through them. The issue is, again, when you're, new people and new roles and for the first time doing things, it unfortunately, sometimes you just have to take a tough lesson and learn a tough lesson. And I'm very confident that a lot of things that we saw that we were not successful at will not show up again.
What's your message to the fans? It's Thanksgiving week. The students are gone, but the fans have been so crucial for this program for years, and we have an opportunity to go 6 for 6 and sell out. So what's kind of your message to JMU Nation, how important they are to this team?
Well, I think we just touched on it a second ago, is they got to get back here. They have to get back here. I know it's going to be cold. I know it's 8 o'clock at night, but you're on your way back anyway for the weekend. Enjoy Thanksgiving with your family. By Friday, somewhere around Saturday morning, you're probably sick of them anyway, right? And head back over here and come watch, come watch your Dukes play. I think that, this is, again, one of the greatest atmospheres that you could possibly have at almost any level. And it's really important that they understand, that it's them and it's that community that comes together so well, that allows us, to have that success. So we need them a whole lot more, even if it's cold, even if it's 8 o'clock at night, we need people here, showing up and making sure that they're loud, just like they've been up to this point in time. Cause, we feed off that. And that's a big reason why we've had the success we've had.